And we're live.
We are sweaty and live.
Yes, all the way
Hello.
from Puerto Vallarta. But you are, where are you, Diana?
I am in a colder country than you are, so I'm not sweaty, I'm freezing. So we are sweaty and freezing. That's like two opposites. But we wanted to invite you somewhere where you will be sweaty too.
Yes, and happy.
Sweaty and happy. That's a good invitation. Sylvia, we named the Zoom what's so interesting or what's so amazing about the ranch. What is awaiting us there and what's like, what's so special there? Why ranch?
Well, it's interesting for those of you that are watching us or listening. When we say the ranch, it's a beautiful ranch. And I forget how many acres, but it's the Lazy Double D Ranch. And maybe we'll actually put up the link because it has a website. There are some videos. You can actually perceive the energy for yourself. And I am so grateful because I've actually seen it change throughout the years. And when it first started as more animals and beautiful horses and costarricense horses from Costa Rica, more of them are on their way to the ranch. Like, you got the chickens and the pigs. And, it's interesting because I grew up with a lot of animals. I don't know if I've ever told you, Diana,
No,
but
you
in
didn't.
a small little town in Northern California, they've now changed regulations, but, we had pigs and chickens and roosters and goats in my backyard. And as a kid, I never really appreciated the gift of having animals in that space. And now I see there's just something different when, for those of you that are pet lovers, horses and cats or birds, but also with these animals that are so available to gift us so much. Now, horses are new in my life, and being at the ranch, these horses are different. I mean, Diana, I know you've been spending some time there as well, but when I approach these horses, they're like, "Who are you? Hello." And they come up to you and embrace you and welcome you and are curious about you. And it invites you to just a different way of being present, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
That,
I
yeah.
like the description that Andrew used that these horses at the ranch are becoming kind of a professionals because they've been through so many classes and they've been through so many experiences with Gary and they're around Dane, when they're spending their time at the ranch. So these horses are kind of like a conscious invitation professionals to invite you to, receive and receive the space that's there at the ranch. And as you said, the animals, you as a kid, you've not been appreciating animals as you can do now. And for me, it's the same with horses because after the experience I had at the ranch, I realized then even if I am around horses here in Czech Republic or elsewhere in Europe, it's different for me than it was or it's being at the ranch. It's so much more space and so much more presence, and the horses are much more present than the horses here in the usual stables, so that's something that's very incredible.
Yes. And I actually remember when I first met my first up and close horse, one of my friends had bought a horse and it was her and this other lady. And she's like, "Come inside, feed it a carrot." And I was like, I was terrified. And I remember walking in and I could feel the immense energy. And I was like, I am going to get stepped on. I mean, like it was like, run was my inner voice, run. So I was there for a little bit. And it's like, okay, I'm going to step outside. And now noticing being present with the horses, because they are this big energy, right? But I also look at it as life. Like life presents intense energies, and how do we be with that? Like, where do you ignore what you know? Because at times you're going to be around certain horses, you got to know it's time to step out. But
Yeah.
when you just receive the intensity and be totally aware of what's required. So for me, that and other stories that I have of just this different invitation to be with energy and perhaps even be with me. Because if anybody knows me, I'm intense. I may be short, but I'm intense.
You're almost like a horse.
I'm almost like a horse.
You're kind and very intense.
Yes.
Um, well, this is actually a very good comment, because like how often we do avoid some energies in our lives. Then we're like, no, I don't have to step up here because it's like not that like loud in my world. But 800 kilograms of weight that's standing on your side is a good invitation to actually step up and be the energy. Otherwise, the horse would not even notice you, and they almost like walk over you, not by intention, but also they're like, there's nothing standing in front of me. So there is an invitation for you to actually be the intense energy like Sylvia is, because the horse then notices you and then they pay attention to you and they be present with you. So this is a great invitation to use this elsewhere in your life, in your
Yeah.
business, and everywhere.
And it's so interesting because I've actually have seen you engage with horses that recently, being at the ranch at the same time, there was this one moment, it's like, wow, Diana, like you're on a horse and it doesn't, follow what you said. There's this intensity that you show up with that I hadn't seen before. I was that, like, what is that? Like, but right. I don't know if
But
you can speak to that.
though you just I have a best comment, I think, and a best veggie from Dr. Dane here, because he seen me at the horse, like riding a horse like this, and he just made a comment, like out of a silence, out of nothing, he made a comment, like if I would be riding my life like I ride a horse, I would just have a totally different life than I have so far. And it follows me since then, and I'm like, that's so deep, like such a deep truth for me, in that like if we would be willing to be the energy we are willing to be, maybe around animals when we step up, and if we would be choosing this energy anywhere else, like with our partners, with our bosses at work, when we just create some projects, and yeah, it will be different.
Yeah. So, and it is a beautiful invitation. And I have another space that one of the horses there at the ranch invited me to. And I'm sharing these horse stories because one of the things that's different about the ranch, Lazy Double D, is that when there are events at the ranch, we oftentimes make it available for people to choose to ride a horse, even if you've never ridden a horse. The incredible ranch crew, I'll call it, do their best to give you an experience in a closed area. And then if you wish and are ready, you can go out and ride with a group. But I say this because, again, this wasn't part of my childhood. It wasn't part of growing up. And there was one time, there was this beautiful horse, and I think he's still at the ranch. His name is Felice. And I rode him. And then afterwards, I was just so grateful. He had been such this beautiful energy with me. It was kind of like, hey, whatever you want, however you want it. I'm in no rush. I don't care to. And at the end, I placed my hands on him and I said, thank you, like so much. And there was this presence of an energy of like gratitude, like caring and gratitude combined that just melted me. Like I was crying at the end. I was like, oh my gosh, I could actually receive that from a horse because he's not expecting anything in return. And what that invited me to acknowledge was that I wasn't willing to receive that in many places in my life because there was always a sense that I had to give something back. And since then, I was like, wow, what else is available here? Particularly from horses, but really everything. That's one of the things that makes the ranch different.
Oh, yes. And also, you just made me realize that, like, when you go to a stable somewhere else, then there's so many projections. You should be
Mhm.
careful around horses. You never should go behind the horse. You should have to do this and you have to do that. And the horses are used to this and that. And then you have to tie a horse because otherwise, it will kick you. And like all those projections that created all the fear around horses for so many people,
Yeah.
it's not being present at the ranch. The
Yeah.
presence at the ranch is more about being a question, be aware where you should be around the horse, be aware how you should like move around the horse, what energy to be, that you probably don't jump on the horse and just yell, because then you would probably scare the horse. But there is the invitation for you to actually, even that you've never met a horse before, you somehow tap into that energy
Yeah.
by yourself. So you
Yeah.
just kind of becoming the awareness how to be around the horses.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And the other thing that I get makes the ranch different is that it has been created with this energy and possibility. There's other properties that many of us, if you are familiar with access consciousness around the world, there's a castle in Italy, there is a property called El Lugar in Costa Rica, and here in Texas, we have the Lazy Double D. And it's different than other properties. And this is where I say, come, explore it for yourself. Because I know when I go to the ranch, it's almost like it's this entry into space. Like it's like, oh, like I can relax. And it's just, I don't know how to put it into words, but know that this ranch, this space has been created, really inviting people to have and receive possibilities that maybe you don't have in other properties, just like you said.
Well,
So
it's been created by Gary Douglas, right? So the furniture there and everything is also very different than you will see at any other ranch. So you probably don't have like a very, very, rich, like, very expensive, like
elegant, like the rugs,
yeah,
right?
the carpets, and you walk on them. They're being in museums, or you're not allowed to walk on them. And here, it's just incredible how you can enjoy even this at the ranch, and like also be at the same moment kind of a cowboy, and it's just like incredible combination of these energies together. That's
And that's
actually
one of the pieces that I love about the creations, with Gary and Dane. And so Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane, which if you go on the website, you'll find something about them and everybody else that comes. But it really is, what if we can enjoy living and the luxury of living, no matter where you're at? And to find it in Costa Rica and this beautiful castle in Italy, but here at the ranch as well, it's no less, and last event we had an array of beautiful antique chairs for people to sit on. We had ordered some, they didn't come in, so we shipped some in to antique chairs that were just beautiful and such a treat. Like, what chair would my body like? But it's really like that inclusion of your body with any event that you go there. And the special events, we have several events coming up at the ranch, which we also have another link that goes directly to list the events coming up at the ranch. Because
it's also you'll be able to find it at the www.lazywdranch.com, because all the events are listed and posted there too.
And so this beautiful idea, what we call the barn dominium, there is a space which, is designed to be a garage, a nice, luxurious garage for Dr. Dane's beautiful blue Ferrari when he comes into town. But meanwhile, we carpet it. There's beautiful seats, a stage, and that space for you to enjoy events. So what are the events coming up, Diana? I think you have a list of those.
We do have a list. I actually have to scroll up. But the first one that's coming up is, and maybe the first one that's actually coming up is Susie Godzi and her. Sorry, my laptop is doing weird things.
I'm getting
Sometimes.
excited. Go Susie.
It's very excited about the ranch. It just does weird things. But it's Susie Godzi and her talk to the animals. But then live, the first one that's starting, the whole series is starting with is Simone Milasas and her business class. So that's the first one you can enjoy there. So Business Done Different. And it's October 5th to 7th. Then it's continuing by Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider with Susie Godzi and Dr. Andrew Gardella. So that's one of the classes before the kind of like, not a main class, but before the class with Gary Douglas himself. The Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider with Susie and Andrew, it's October 8th to 9th. And then there's the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider Facilitators Training, Certified Facilitators Training with Gary and Susie. And that's the dates are 10th to 13th of October. And then the last one there, but not the last one, but the last one for this series is SE Horse with Dr. Andrew Gardella. And that's October 15th to 16th. So it's like the whole ride. It's packed. It's like unlimited possibilities, and you pretty much can stay there for like over a week and enjoy all of those classes, maybe.
Yeah. And I love it. I gotta say, years ago, they had a conscious horse, conscious riders, facilitators, and I translated. I, I help sometimes with the translation in Spanish, and I thought, sure, I'll translate, but never did I consider choosing the class for myself. And in the midst of translating the class with the exercises that were being facilitated with the participants, there was one particular exercise. I'm not doing it. I'm translating, and I'm in tears. There was this energy of where we go to other people's needs and desires to try to figure out what to say. I mean, this lady was being facilitated, and that was just something that opened up something within me, and I couldn't stop crying because I thought, wow, that has been how I, up until that point, and not that it's completely gone away, but I'm more aware of it, have been functioning. It's like, it doesn't matter what I would like to say or be like. I need to know what everybody else needs from me. And it was that moment where I thought, that's just how I thought it was. I didn't know I had another choice. And and after that, the invitation I like to be for anyone that can make it, that has the prerequisites to that, but also as certified facilitators, you can come and just choose the class and not have to choose it as an extra license to facilitate these classes. But I do wonder, with these tools and the invitation and gift that these horses are, like, how much more present can we be in our lives to actually choose to live and have what works for us, not just out of the needs and desires of everyone else.
Yeah. And well, for me, I've been at many classes or through many classes so far too, not as many as Sylvia, that's for sure. But I've seen maybe the fastest energetic shift in people and beings, and it was at the ranch when they were actually having or dealing with a horse, or even being asked a question by Gary or Dane. The energetic shift was so obvious and so fast for me. It was almost like they immediately choose something else, or at that moment that they get it, it's so clear that you like almost see the movement of the energy, and then they kind of get it and they never lose that energy again.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So that's my invitation. If you'd like to have more of you, come out to the ranch. It really is that space. And if you choose to visit the ranch when there's no event, there's actually accommodations and Airbnb above the quote unquote classroom area that we have. There's also accommodations very close by, which we also have in that Lazy Double D link. But yeah, that's some possibilities that Diana and I were super happy to share with all of you. And you'll know when, and you'll know if this is going to contribute to you. And sometimes but you don't even know that you know, or you don't know why. And that's where you got to trust you. It's like, I got to go there. I don't know why. Either you love horses, you hate horses, or you've never been around them. You're like, but I got to be there. So you may be aware of possibilities that are just around the corner at Lazy Double D Ranch in
And
Texas.
if you hesitating because it's Texas and you're going to be lost there and how you're going to get there, we have so many possibilities how to make it easy and joy and glory for you to get to the ranch and to like have a wonderful experience all over.
So Diana and I are both two of the hosts. We have a few other people, Georgia Watson and Cara Wright, that are assisting. But if you have any questions about the logistics, we have what we call our travel guide that gives you lots and lots of information.
And we also have an amazing Telegram group for Lazy Double D events. So it's through all the classes and even upcoming classes. So you can also probably join us there and like look through the chat, or maybe just chat with people who are coming and maybe decide that you're coming because there are some people you like that already coming.
And if you'd like to facilitate your own classes there, it's available for you too. So again, you can already tell by our enthusiasm, the possibilities are endless. So we hope that you choose it if it works for you. And if not, you'll just see all the beautiful pictures and videos go out through social media, and you would have been there. So we call that JOMO, joy of missing out.
Totally. But
Thanks
I
to
usually have I usually have a FOMO when I'm not there.
that too. Well, thank you, Diana. May you stay warm out where you're at, and I'll try to stay cool. And we'll see you at the ranch real soon.
Very soon. Thank you,
Ciao,
Sylvia.
everyone. Thank you. Bye, everyone.